Hello and welcome everyone to the MVP call. My name is Casper and Cheryl Stockham, your MVP hosts. Welcome all your MVPs and potential MVPs. Hey, welcome to the Huddle. We have quick information we want to share about our sponsors. It's I Am Love Builders. It's Cheryl and I, we wrote a book called Divorce Proofing Your Marriage that is out on Amazon. Hit the hot new release list on Amazon. We have a free ebook you can get from our website. You can do that today by going to iamlovebuilders.com. We have an MVP special running for the month of February. So one person out of five who signs up for MVP is going to get their MVP refunded. So they'll have a free MVP for the
Very
year.
good. Very
Absolutely. We have a TV show that we're launching here this year. We are looking for sponsors and show guests. So we'll be talking more about that later. And you can become an MVP by scanning that QR code.
good.
All right. Well, we are ready to get started with our training, sweetie, and we're going to be talking about forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, forgiveness is a big one.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about specifically forgiveness with couples, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, engagement, couples, not forgiveness of, Aunt Millie and Uncle Bob and the co-worker. We're not going to go into all those.
Right.
We're going to go, this is specifically for relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So forgiveness is a really big thing. It's really misunderstood.
Yeah.
What forgiveness is, what forgiveness is all about. People they run from forgive. They don't want to forgive, and they don't understand that being forgiving or forgiving someone is freeing.
It's freeing and it helps you way more than it helps the other person. So people really shouldn't be afraid of it. They should be running to it. I used to kind of run from it many years ago, but I've learned how to forgive pretty quick now.
Mm-hmm.
So when things happened, whether it's somebody cutting you off on the street, driving down the street, or something even more serious in a relationship,
Right.
It's really to your best benefit
Mm-hmm.
to forgive them so you can move on.
My personal definition is that when you are willing to not forgive, you don't want to forgive, you are saying that I want to hold in that pain.
Yeah.
I want to saturate myself in it. I want to just soak in the pain. And when you think about it that way, it doesn't really make sense.
No.
Why does anyone want to stay in pain?
Yeah, it's almost like you're wanting to hold on to it so that you can brag about the fact that somebody hurt you.
Right.
And that's the wrong way to look at it, and it doesn't help you at all. All it does is cause you more pain, suffering, even cause health issues with stress,
most definitely,
and everything else. We're going to go into major detail on this during the MVP club call today. So if you're not an MVP, you won't be able to get access to more of this training. But we do want to share this with you because this is it's important. And forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean that what happened didn't happen.
Right.
And
it doesn't mean that what they did is okay. No, it wasn't okay.
It wasn't okay.
Hurting people is not okay.
It's not okay. But then you have to think about how many people have you hurt?
Ooh, and that's another one with forgiveness. A lot of times people who want to hold on to unforgiveness and refuse to forgive, they never consider the fact that, there's somebody somewhere you've hurt too.
Exactly.
All they can focus on is that this person hurt me. You hurt me. But how many people in your lifetime have you hurt?
Right.
And if you haven't yet, you will.
You will. You will. Yeah. We just don't think about forgiveness as something that benefits us, but it really I was thinking about this earlier today. It's kind of selfish in a way, that in the sense that you don't want to forgive because you think that you don't want to forgive because you think it's hurting them, but it's actually hurting you. So you need to forgive because it's helping you.
Right. It's like unforgiveness is like poison.
Yeah.
It's poison to you though.
Right.
It's not poisoning the other person.
No.
And there's sometimes in situations, kind of like those Hatfield and McCoy
Mm-hmm.
situations where they've been fighting and angry and been mean and unforgiving to each other for so long that
Yeah.
it comes to a point where nobody even remembers what it was they were fighting about. Do you
Exactly.
know what the Hatfields and McCoys were fighting about?
No, I don't. And I bet you they don't either. They just keep fighting and fighting because that's what they always did. Uncle fought and daddy fought and
Yes,
granddaddy fought.
and it just perpetuates
Yeah.
from one generation to another generation. It's
Yeah.
like, so if you have drank poison, why do you want to pass that cup of poison down to the next generation?
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. So forgiveness can be, so this is what forgiveness doesn't mean.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't mean that you forget.
Right. Right.
If the pain
but
is deep enough, you won't forget.
whatever happened, it did happen, right?
Yes.
But you have to be able to, you have to find a way through it and find a way to move on from it.
And forgiveness doesn't mean that we don't grieve. So
Right.
it doesn't mean that there won't be some pain.
Right.
We will grieve the loss
Mm-hmm.
of whatever it was that happened.
Yeah.
It was real. It did happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we won't be able to go through all of those now. So we'll have to hit those on the MVP call here at the top of the hour. But we need to talk about the 4 C's before we done
Oh,
here.
so what are the 4 C's, honey? You want to tell us?
So the 4 C's, the first C, I believe, is, if you go to the next page there.
The first C is, of course, dun, da, da, da,
Christ.
Christ.
Right. If you are a follower of Christ, he should be the guiding light for all of your interactions, your relationships, and what have you. And especially when it comes to forgiveness, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
think about it. In the Bible, Jesus told someone he was talking to, I can't remember if it was
He
a
told the
disciple.
disciples, they asked him, how many times am I supposed to forgive someone who wronged me?
Yeah.
And Jesus said 70 times 7, basically mean you always forgive.
Always forgive, right? And he also said that before you ask for a blessing or before you go to get a blessing, you need to get it right with you.
Get the person right before you leave your gifts at the altar, it
Right.
says in the scripture,
Yeah.
and go to that person and give forgiveness.
Right.
You guys need to reconcile that.
Get that reconciled before,
Mhm.
right? So yeah.
And then also, it also says that Christ said in the word, it says that between husbands and wives,
Mhm.
if there is no reconciliation, then blessings won't flow.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So forgiveness blocks a lot of things that could be coming your way. So if you have any issues with anyone, you want to get that straight immediately today. Right. And you say, well, what if that person is dead now? Let's say they moved on. Okay, well, you still can forgive that person.
Yes.
You don't have to forgive them to their face. You could write them a letter. Right. And you could just say, look, I forgive you for whatever it was. And you have to be able to do that so you can move on.
Right. So then the next C is control. Now, does this mean I get to control you?
No.
Oh, okay. That's not what that means.
No, but I can't control you either.
No, that is quite true.
The control is self-control.
Yeah.
Control yourself. You are an adult. Hopefully, you need to control yourself and control your actions. It's funny because if we have a job and we go to work every day, we don't go in there and start flying off at the handle the first thing that happens. We control our attitude, ourself, and our actions at work. So don't go home and decide, oh, now I can be myself and I can be out of control at home.
Right. And so you want to control your attitude,
right?
Your outer and your inner. You want to control your speech, how you're talking, your attitude, what you're saying. Or sometimes control is that people withdraw and they just stop talking,
right?
Because they're angry. So I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah,
that's not controlling the situation.
No, it's not, but it is controlling you getting more upset. So part of that is healthy, to go away from the situation, to back away from the situation, to gain your composure.
Right.
So that is part of control, but you don't want to stay there because now you're sliding into something else.
Well, yeah, because then you start to use that when you're not talking to someone for 3 or 4 days,
right,
a week.
right.
and then you're manipulating in order to get what you want. I'm
Right.
just not going to talk to you until you give me what I want.
Right. Now you're trying to control.
Yes.
Right. So yeah. So now you're using that as a form of control.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So then the next one is communication. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a big one.
That's a big one. That's probably one of the
Mhm.
top three when it comes to relationships is communication. So we have a communication tool
Mhm.
that we give you. It's free of charge. You can get it from our website. You can get it from our social media pages. There's a copy of it right there. But you can use that tool to help in the flow of communication.
Right.
Because sometimes things get a little heated or what have you. You can use this tool to kind of calm things down so that you
Mhm.
can both hear each other.
Mhm.
And then we know that when we're coaching couples, that a lot of times they just don't hear each other.
They don't.
Yeah.
We're not listening. We're always thinking about what we're going to say next. We're thinking about our rebuttal to
Yeah.
whatever it is you're saying.
Yeah.
And we're not listening so that we can truly hear, be in your position, so that ultimately we can come to a resolve.
Right.
And that's what we really want to get to is a resolve.
Exactly.
So communication is big. And so, but communication with couples is really because you're such close quarters.
Mm-hmm.
You really want it's not a skill you just know.
Right.
It's something you have to practice.
Right.
And communication is also sometimes you have to unlearn some bad habits.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In communication. I mean, we
Yeah.
come from our families, and
Mhm.
if you came from a family that didn't communicate well, then you may have carried some of those traits on to your relationship, to
Mhm.
your family,
Mhm.
and with your children.
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal, and it's worth learning the skill of communication,
Absolutely.
how to communicate clearly.
Absolutely. So what's the last one?
So the very last one is compromise.
Yeah. So in the book, all these are in our book, by the way, Divorce Proofing Your Marriage. Now, compromise, actually, a better word for it, and I think you said this is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to collaborate. At the end of the day, you have to work together. You guys are a team. You are a covenant, and you are together forever. So you have to learn how to communicate and sometimes compromise or collaborate with each other.
Yes.
You don't have to win every single discussion in order
Mhm.
for it to be a good relationship.
Yeah, and then sometimes you may need to um, try different things. It may be in collaborating.
Mhm.
I might say, okay, honey, so we're going to try your suggestion,
Right.
and we're going to see how that works.
Right.
Or it may be a situation where what you do with me a lot is
Mhm.
like, I like that part of what you suggested,
Right.
but I also like the part that I suggested. So let's see how we can mesh the two together
Right.
to get for a common goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Try one way. If that doesn't work, try the other way, but work together on it.
Yes.
That's the key, is working together on it. Hey, guys, you've been listening to the MVP Huddle. We're going to start the MVP call here at the top of the hour. You can go to our website right now and get our free ebook, or take the love assessment. We have a 5-minute or a 20-minute love assessment on our website for free. You want to also check out Becoming an MVP. That's when we go into more detail. We have a lot of back and forth interaction with you live, which is what we're going to do here at the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just excited to have you with us, excited to have you in on these free trainings. And we'll see you on the next one here in about 2 weeks. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.